Hey, what's up guys? Come back with another World of Tanks video comparison. Now this comparison is going to be between the two specific Chinese tier 10 tanks currently offered in the World of Tanks tech tree. Now the medium tank is going to be the 121, and that means that the heavy tank is the 113. Now when I state this, many people they think, oh, the 113, the 121, obviously the 121's better. Now, the differences between these tanks aren't that big, kind of like how the Object 140 and the T62A are. I'm definitely going to try and take those small differences and expand them way more and definitely go in depth with this comparison. So, for the most part, the 121, the medium tank, is a T62A, Soviet slash Chinese, I guess you say, traditional style tank, which it has the elongated hull with the middle slash front mounted turret with the dome shape with the cupolas and all that stuff. So what it basically is just before I start this review, it's basically a T62A with a 122 caliber hard-hitting cannon. So that being said, it does fire AP rounds, which I'll get into later, that kind of it makes the gameplay a little bit slower for the medium tank, and it is a little bit more sluggish than the Soviet counterparts. Now that being said, the 113 is basically, yeah, it's, I guess, a bigger medium tank. That's basically what, heavy tanks are, but it's basically a 121 with an even bigger hull, a better engine, better frontal glacis, all around better armor, turret armor, and more hit points. So I'll get into this review now, and I'll go over armor once again, and I'll just try and expand those differences a lot more than they really should be. Alright, so the first thing I want to go over is just the armor between the two tanks. Now, the Rex Timmy's tank viewer that I've been using for all my video comparisons has actually been not necessarily shut down, but they're not updating it anymore, and as that could be a reliable source because Chinese tanks have been in the game for so long, I really don't want to use that. I'm just going to go over it from memory and show you guys in the game itself just how the armor layout is. So as you see, the Chinese tanks, they have the traditional Soviet or Asian, Chinese, Japanese type traditional type tanks where it's an elongated hull with a middle, slightly front mounted tank turret that is a dome type shape. They have the commander's cupolas on either side, pretty well like sloped, if you say, more rounded type of gun mantlet, and frontal sloping on the turret, and on the sides and back it has a decent round but is more susceptible to being penned by same tier shots. So let's go over the 121 first. Alright, so this 121, it has a very, very good slope on the frontal hull, which I'll get into later. The 113 actually beats it out in that way. The 121 is, its frontal armor is pretty good, especially compared to the Soviet tanks, the 140, the 430, and the T62A. It has a better frontal slope with more armor. Now this whole armor states that it has 120 in the, and that's the upper hole right there. Now this tank angles like a boss, and I cannot count how many times I've gotten steel wall in this tank just from the turret alone, or whether it be the lower glacis even bouncing shots. It's just if you angle in this tank and they decide not to shoot you in the side and they shoot you in the frontal, upper, lower glacis, they are very bouncy. So the upper glacis at an angle has an effective of around 250 millimeters of armor. That being said, the sides and back are just huge weak spots. Look at that. You're going to be moving as a medium, but at the same time, if you get shot here, it's most likely going to damage your fuel tanks, possibly your ammo rack, and the back of the tank is just paper. So, on top of that, the 113 is the same way, but the only thing that the 113 does better is look at that upper glacis sloping. That's around a 45-degree angle, and that's just ridiculous. So the only thing that I find that the 113 and 121 have difficulty with when brawling or wolf packing or stuff like that is taller tanks. If you're in an E100 firing heat, you're actually going to be looking down sort of like this, and you're going to have a way easier slope to pen at. That being said, the lower glacis in that case would be actually more effective than the upper glacis just because of the slope that you're at. So on top of that, the 113 has a very unique weak spot, which many people do not realize, is this little part here on the side of the tank counts as spaced armor, but when it wraps around to the front of the tank, it becomes part of the upper glacis. But if you can see right here, this triangular type of pizza slice type looking thing, that's a very weak part of the upper hull. People do not realize that because that actually counts. I don't know if they have changed it, but the models of the tank, that counts as this piece here. So it's slightly spaced with, I think, 20 millimeters of spaced armor, but behind that is just absolute butter. So these little pieces here, the triangular type shapes, that's a very unique type of armor layout. I can't really describe it any better than that. You guys will have to see in game. The 121, however, has the tracks that are elongated with the little mud flaps that count as no hitboxes because they just go right through, to kind of cover up that little bit there. Now onto the turrets. The 121 has 240 millimeters of frontal turret armor. Only things that are going to be penning through there are high caliber heat rounds such as the 268 or say Jagdpanzer E100, E100, stuff like that. It does have a few viewports here that count as, like I said, viewports or rangefinders, which are up here, right here, this little dome thing. A couple of these hatches here, and also the driver's hatch right there counts as a viewport. Now, before I get into weak spots and stuff like that, the top of all these Chinese tanks on their turret is absolute shit, and artillery can pen right through this part here that is actually kind of highlighted with the camo in green, and the same thing on the 121 up here. Now, that being said, the sides and back of the turret are quite well rounded, but they are susceptible to same caliber pens, such as 122 millimeters, anything above that. And at tier 10, you're going to be penned in the side of the turret back. That's most likely going to damage your ammo rack and also do damage. So next I'll just go over weak spots really quickly in this same part of the video, just to kind of get that out of the way, and try not to make this video too long, as a lot of people have actually said that my comparison videos, they're very in-depth, they have great information, but they're just a bit too long to watch all in one session. So, obvious weak spots: lower glacis, driver's hatch here, these little commander, or I guess gunner viewports right here are weak spots if you do not crit them. Side of the turret, obviously sides and back of the tank, and the two cupolas. Now the cupola that obviously sticks up more is the right hand one looking from this view, and that's the one you're going to want to shoot if you have to. Now, places where modules are placed, poor choice of words there. Ammo rack is actually on the side of the tank, same thing as the Russians right here, and there's a secondary ammo rack on the left strip side here of the turret, where I'm highlighting right now with my mouse. Also, the retarded thing about these Chinese medium and tier 10 heavy tanks is that the fuel tank and ammo rack continues on and can be penned through the front. So 121, what you have is this side is the fuel tank, so right there past the frontal glacis, if you're in a high caliber tank, you can just keep penning right through that and you'll damage the fuel tanks, which are terrible in this tank, and all Russian and heavy tanks have terrible fuel tanks, in my opinion. Now, ammo rack is right here and continues to the side, like I said. You can also kill the driver through that by hitting right here. You can kill the commander by here, gunner by there, and it's just a big crit machine, these tanks. However, if you play it right, you could just wolfpack everything down, and it's a very effective tank. Now, 113 basically follows the same guidelines, however, its lower glacis is a bit bigger, a little weaker, because you get the trade-off from the amazing upper glacis. You do have a driver's port right here, but like I said, that's more covered by the upper glacis, and you have better coverage there, and the driver's not going to die as much. On top of that, you have the commander that you can crit through there. Like I said, ammo rack, same place. Same thing with this. Like I said, 113 is just a bigger 121 in theory, with the fuel tanks, the ammo rack, engine, just everything. So on top of that, now I'm going to go over guns and basically showcase how they are the exact same thing. Alright, so I say they're the exact same thing just because that's my opinion, but, there are specific differences, and I'm going to highlight them, just kind of how I did in the T62A Object 140 review. But for the most part, the 121's gun, since it's a medium, has better DPM, better accuracy, just better overall gun handling, which in theory is not that good for a medium, but it is a heavy 122 caliber gun on the medium tank. So on the right here we have the 121's gun, which is a bit different, because medium tanks normally fire APCR rounds as their standard ammo. The T-62A does that, the Leopard does that, Object 140. I think every other friggin' medium does it except for the 121. So that being said, it has heat as its gold round with above average penetration for a gold round on a medium tank at 340. Average penetration with standard AP is 258. You have high explosive at 68 pen, which is actually quite a lot for a medium tank because it is a heavy gun. Rate of fire 6.25. You'll get around 7.9 second reload with BIA, tank gun rammer, and vents, which I'll go over later. And accuracy does suffer a little bit, 0.35, which isn't bad for sniping, but I don't recommend that in this tank because of the AP rounds. Aim time is 2.7 seconds, which is meh, but like I said, you're getting the trade-off. You're getting alpha and you're getting pen for the medium tank with a heavy gun. So next we'll go on to the 113, which is a bit worse in gun handling, dispersion, stuff like that. However, what people don't get, which is another reason why you may want to get the 113 first, is due to the fact that the 113 gets the cannon for the WZ-120 without, like, say you want to go up the tech tree and you're going to get the 113 first, you don't have to spend the extra, what is it, like 64,000 XP getting this extra 122 caliber rifle, or not rifle, cannon, on the 120 that basically you get for free on the 113. So that being said, it does have a little bit worse gun handling, as I've already stated. It has a less rate of fire at 5.5 rounds per minute, which is about a 9-second reload, a little less. Average penetration, you get 9 less with standard AP, which isn't that much of a difference at 249. Same gold round pen, 340. Same average alpha at 440. You have the aim time is 2.7 seconds, which is the same, and its accuracy is 0.01 worse, which doesn't make that much of a difference because you're a heavy tank and you're going to be closer anyway. Alright, so as mobility goes on these tanks, the one thing that the 121 suffers as a medium is its engine. Its engine power and power to ton ratio are just atrocious. It has 580 horsepower at a 39-ton vehicle. So you're going to be a bit sluggish because you are carrying that ridiculous boomstick as a medium. But your top speed, however, is better than the T-62As at 56 kilometers an hour. Now, that being said, its traverse speed is 50, which is very good, and its turret traverse speed is 40, which is the same as the Object 140. So you do get a little bit trade-off with, you know, the traverse speed and the turret traverse speed also. Signal range, V range with this tank because it is a medium, but you do get a really bad acceleration rate, and your passability on terrain is pretty bad too. Now, the weird thing is the 113 gets a better engine and has a better pickup and go / acceleration than the 121 as a heavy tank. So this thing has 750 horsepower, same chance of fire, which is 12%, but that doesn't matter because friggin' Chinese tanks have terrible fuel tanks. So I'll go over that later too, which they just, you'll see it in the gameplay, it's just painful. So 750 horsepower with a 45.7 ton vehicle, which has a way better power to weight ratio than the 121. On top of that, it does get the trade-off of traverse speed being 36 degrees per second, which actually isn't bad as a heavy, but like I said, the 113 is just a bigger 121. You're going to be hearing me say that all throughout the gameplay and all throughout this video, because that's really just the truth of the matter. And its turret traverse speed is 26 degrees per second. That's okay as a heavy. Its turret's durable enough to withstand, you know, taking that long to traverse it, so it's not that big of a deal. And the one thing that the 113 does have really well, as it is a bigger 121, is its speed limit, which is 50 kilometers an hour, which is the same as the T-62As. So yeah, just put that in your mind for a second. It is going to take a while to get to that top speed. It may be governed. I really find myself only going 45 on a flat without going downhill, so that's just that. And next we will go on to the loadouts and just basic overall gameplay and stuff like that. Alright, so this 121 has better gun handling, so I'm going to go ahead and do crew skills first. I'll pull these guys up really quick. You're going to want to do the standard medium / Soviet, Russian, and Chinese loadout with the safe stowage, which I'll get into in a second. It is a 4-man crew, and I'll also do that after this part of the video, how to crew train, stuff like that, if you have a Type 59 or if you're willing to buy a T-34-3. But before I do that, let's get into crew skills. It shares the same playstyle as any of those mediums, by the way, so you don't have to worry about switching crew and stuff like that, or having a crew for those premium tanks, which you should never do. So here we go. Obvious medium load, or whatever you want to say, loadout for skills is 6 cents. You want to do smooth ride on the driver, as it helps your accuracy while moving, which is one big thing that you're going to be doing in this 121. You want snapshot because it has such a good turret traverse rate and the dispersion is pitiful, to make that even more accurate, and safe stowage to help your turbad ammo rack. Now on top of that, I chose to get Brothers in Arms as my second skill. Some people use repairs and they ditch the Brothers in Arms, but I really think that with its less fire rate than the Soviet medium tanks, I just like Brothers in Arms to get that little oomph going. Now on top of that, instead of using full camo, I actually did 3 people having you know, however much camo you have on your third skill, and they're at 92%. But the one thing that I chose, since it's the 121, is off-road driving for the driver, which helps your pick up and go a lot on tough terrain. So after this, you know, I just get repairs, do whatever skills you have left if you really have a good crew. Now, as equipment goes, like I said, gun rammer. You can switch out vents for optics or possibly vert stab, which I actually have a GLD on here. I really should have a vert stab, but I don't feel like buying one right now. So I guess for equipment, do vents rammer and vert stab, or vents optics and vert stab. So just ignore this GLD. Now, as loadout goes for shells, this thing holds 40 rounds, which is pretty sufficient. I mean, I've never ran out of rounds in my 121. I do 25 AP, 10 heat, and 5 HE. 5 HE might be a little excessive, but I find myself going back to base a lot in this tank. Now, consumables, you know, just normal loadout, small repair kit, small first aid kit, and automatic fire extinguisher, because the fuel tanks on this tank are crap. So, you know, just auto resupply, whatever. I'll just accept that. And that's basically the 121. Now for the 113, you're literally going to be doing the same thing, a little bit different. Instead of camo, I suggest getting repairs first and off-road driving in sync with that, which, you know, like I said, it's a relocating heavy tank, which is really good with off-road driving. So I did the same, you know, safe stowage, smooth ride, snapshot, and 6 cents on the commander. And then I only have a 2-perk crew here, which is pretty bad actually, and 75%, I'll just round it up, 75% repairs and off-road driving for the second skill. Now I'll probably retrain that to Brothers in Arms and then do repair again after I hit another skill. Alright, so this tank holds 34 rounds, so as rounds go, 25 AP, 5 gold heat rounds, and 4 for resetting cap for the high explosive rounds. As the consumables go, same thing, automatic fire extinguisher, small first aid kit, and small repair kit. I'll accept that. And basic same thing for any other Soviet heavy or Chinese heavy as the predecessors go. You want to make your gun handling as good as you can. So I ditched vents because I don't think in this tank DPM is really much of an argument to make better. It already has good enough DPM. So large caliber tank gun rammer, EGLD for gun handling, and Vert Stab Mark II for even better gun handling. So that's the basic, you know, consumables, loadouts, stuff like that. And as playstyle goes, you want to play the 121 almost like a Soviet medium, but do less sniping, more aggressive. You have better armor. Use your alpha, peek and shoot if you need to. And same thing with the 113. However, the 113 plays more of a passive heavy, kind of like a T-57 heavy over here. You want to stay back from off the front lines. You have great HP to kind of sit back and take shots, trade shots with enemies. And if you get any good spots, cover your lower glacis, angle a little bit. You can side scrape, but not necessarily that well because the side armor is so bad. If anything, you want to do like a 10-15 degree angle like that, which, you know, even still they might pen you. So 113 has not as good armor on the side, so don't really side scrape. Just use your upper glacis as much as you can and be a second line heavy. So without further ado, we're going to get into gameplay and show you guys some cool games. Alright guys, so I'm going to go over the 113's gameplay for the first specific showcase that we're going to have. And although this replay is pretty old, I had it saved just sitting around basically. you know, just for when I was going to make this video. So for the most part, this end, I'm actually going to have two gameplays for the 113, being basically the same type of showcase. What happens is we basically, the beginning of our team that just rushes in, gets derped on, and we end up failing hard. It looks like we're going to lose, but me along with artillery end up turning things around. So at the start of this game, we just, you know, I take out a scout towards the beginning, and since I am a fast relocating heavy, I try to fortify the fields with our mediums and add a little alpha and armor towards our gameplay here. So the one thing that you'll find out about this tank, that it's not good for peek and shoot when there are high caliber tanks that you're trying to peek and shoot against. Now T-54 bounces my upper plate as I get a bad RNG roll. And now here's what I'm talking about. Although I have pretty good upper glacis armor, I angle, and the Jagdpanzer ends up hitting me right in the lower glacis. And there again is the fuel tanks in this tank just being absolutely terrible. Now I get set on fire, I have an automatic fire extinguisher, and I'm able to pull out and have our teammates help with me to move up. So E4 gets lit, I just basically hang around and try and play safe now, where you'll see in a little bit I get derped by the Jagdpanzer again. So this was my, I don't know if you guys were checking out in this chat, but this was my first game I ever played in the 113, and I thought its armor was a bit better, but I learned the hard way, as many people would actually say in this case. So let me speed it up a little bit, just to get things moving. This E4 comes out as I get just random ping spikes having me drive onto mounds of shit, apparently. So our team is not looking too well. Our middle forces in town are just absolutely destroyed, as I get a nice shot onto this Jagdpanzer's up under glacis. However, I get ammo racked and shot, again showcasing the bad module HP on this tank. So I just go ahead, shoot him in the lower glacis, try and pull back as the autoloader gets him. So now is the part where our field is doing well, but our city is absolutely shitting the bed. So I, in a little bit, once this 54 is dead, decide to actually go back towards base, as I'll just speed it up now, and basically try and stop the city forces that I am for sure know that they're going to come and cap. So I get a few shots into him. I'm just going to go and speed it up for time's sake, as here we go, going back to base. And as you can see, this tank mobilizes so well, it just totally relocates, and as they're not capping yet, I'm not really sure what they're doing, so I kind of side scrape, try and get a little bit of a view there, as I'm not sure if you guys saw, but that Jagdpanzer actually was firing heat at my upper and lower glacis right there, and I think the other one just disappeared. But for the most part, your upper glacis is kind of manageable. It's kind of effective against 155 calibers. And I guess, what, Jagdpanzer is 180? Not really sure. So as you see, VK totally just decides not to cap and spots me. I take him out along with our 54E1, as our WZ-111 is just derping in the middle of the train yard, not really doing anything. He's trying to come back, but he doesn't realize that we already have it. So as he gets killed, their whole team is spotted at their base from that WZ and our Arty, as they both die, our Scout and Arty. So here's where I'm going to have to play super conservatively, because I have one shot left until I am dead by any tank on their team if I get penned, even HE rounds. Now what I don't get is why the Arty hadn't been focusing towards here. He ends up relocating, I believe, so whatever. So our autoloader goes all the way through town, and I'm just going to speed this up because he gets derped by Arty. Now here I play a little peekaboo with the E4, as he has no shot on me because his dispersion on the move is terrible. So he tries coming up, and why he has his side to me is just, I don't even know. So he backs up right into my shot, and there's 3 kills. So T-54E1 tries to kill the Arty, lights him for our Arty, but he dies in the process, as our Arty does counterbat the GWE-100 in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I guess I have to... There we go. So he gets him. And here we go, me and the 57 Heavy are going to duke it out along with our Arty. However, the 57 Heavy takes a good approach. I mean, I go back, try and stall a little bit to see if he'll come out this way, which I thought, since he has an autoloader and he knows I have low health, he could just sit at base and wait for us to come to him. However, there is 7 minutes left, so he takes the route all the way through town, but he did not think it out really well, because he realizes, soon by the end of this game, that our bat chat has slowly been creeping up after every shot towards me and and their enemy cap. So I tell him to relocate to A0 and get shots towards their cap, because that's where I think the 57 is going to camp out. But what ends up happening is 57 goes to our base, and he ends up capping. So what I do is say, Bat, let's just cap him out. He's not going to have enough time to get back to his base. So there he is. He starts capping, and me and the Bat Chat, Artie, we just literally sit here, and he tries to get off cap, but he does not have time. So as you see, 57 heavies capping. We got 10 seconds left on the time counter, and me and the Bat Chat are capping. However, 57 does not make it back in time. So there's the good win for us. Very nice game for the first time in this tank. Almost 3k damage, you know, pretty good overall playstyle of this tank. But only thing is I did take a few shots that were unnecessary from that Jagdpanzer, as I thought my armor would be more reliable. So next we'll have a 121 game, and then I'm actually going to come back to the 113 as I have a pretty cool gameplay for that also. So stay tuned for the 121, and I'll showcase that tank next. Alright, so the after battle reports for the first game in the 113, we have, obviously it was a game on Ensk. Let's see what my nominal XP base was 1,155, which is pretty good for a specific game where I only did 2.7k damage. Vehicles destroyed, 3 AI damage, 6, which I guess were just random other tanks that I don't even remember. Hit 9 out of 10 shots for 9 shots to do 3k damage is pretty good. I received, I only had about, what was it, like 56 HP left, and I read that was from 4 shots. So obviously this tank's armor not too good against high caliber rounds from that Jagdpanzer. Capture point 65, you know, just basic stuff down here. And their team obviously had a pretty good damage spread, actually sort of in par with ours, and obviously it came down to a cap fest between me and that Bat Chat against the 57 heavy. So that's this game. Next I'll have the 121, and yep, that's actually a pretty good game on Serene Coast, which I had literally like 2 hours ago. So hope you guys will like that, and stay tuned. Alright guys, so for the 121 gameplay, we got a pretty good game on Serene Coast, and as XVM states, my team is absolutely terrible. And, you know, we got a 44% chance to win, but obviously we proved that wrong with the outcome of this game. So, for the most part, it's Serene Coast, so I'm just going to speed this up a little bit as it takes fucking forever to get into position for this specific type of playstyle in a medium. So what I do towards the beginning is I sit here for a little bit, wait for our teammates to kind of get up to where I am, and somehow, I don't know how it's even possible, but I was the first one to the main front here where the enemies would be spotting. So I don't know how I did that in a 121, but whatever, I'll take it. So 12T gets spotted in mid, and I am cresting over towards this hill, which my gun depression is actually allowing me to do somehow, trying to spot anybody that's up there. Now, as I speed this up a little bit, an E75 gets spotted by that Centurion, or me, not really sure, as this tank's AP rounds do take a while to get to the target, but I do manage to pen him in the lower glacis. So as we speed this up a little bit, T54 gets a nice snapshot on me, as the 12T gets spotted in mid again. So here's a Centurion. I take a quick shot there from him, just getting back into the nice crest here where I can actually work towards mid without getting shot from those people in middle. Now artillery just blind shots me and completely fails. So the E75 is up there with the Centurion, and there we go, our already takes out the E75. So this 12T is playing peekaboo with me, keeping me spotted, and I really need to get him dead as he's spotting a couple people near me. So I take the shot, and he peeks out right at the right time, and he is dead. So 261 completely fails at hitting me again, and I basically move right into their specific setup here. Now the fact that they had so many tanks not even go 9-0 line by now, it means that they're obviously camping their base hard with their TDs or whatever they even have back there. So I say requesting fire at the Centurion for our Centurion to hit, but apparently he wants to focus the Panther 2, which is not really that much of a threat, so I go ahead and just brawl it out with him and take him out
right there. So here comes the Centurion 7-1, who has the ultimate gun depression as a tier 9 medium, and he gets smacked by Artie, so I decide to just go in, and there's my terrible gun depression showcased for you, as I take another shot, which was totally due to my lack of knowledge of this gun depression, which I don't know why. So right here, he shoots me one more time, and I'm thinking about ramming him, but I say, nope, don't want to kill myself. So I know I have the better reload, so I go ahead and take him out and shoot him in the upper glacis at a straight angle to pen him to kill him. So 268 gets spotted towards mid. We have a medium T54 getting boned by our team. And here's another T54E1, which looks like he's fully reloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and take one shot back up, but my gun depression yields me not to be able to shoot him. So there we go, get a better spot, shoot him in the side of the turret as our Centurion 7-1 dies by the 268. Now I realize that, and I know that this guy's reloaded, so I try and track him, you know, at least give me some time, as now I can play the peekaboo game and angle more, and he completely just, I think he bounces all 4 shots. Yeah, there's 3, and I guess he's reloading, so I get a very lucky shot here, shoot him in the back of the turret in a snapshot. And here we can speed this up a little bit more because nothing really happens here. I just scout Artie and get a few more shots on the TDs. Now I'm up to 3k damage and I have 4 kills, so me and that Centurion really rickrolled the hill, and our heavies in mid, and I guess we had TDs just sniping, really helped out. So 704, don't really know which way he's looking, so I take my time. I get spotted by somebody, which is the 704, as he's looking that way now, so I can basically stay behind this little ridge here and use my camo to my advantage as I shoot the Jagdpanzer and eventually that E3 in the side. So 704, if he turns, he's going to die, so he's obviously not going to face me. And he knows that I'm camping behind here, so he doesn't really care. Get a great roll on that Jagdpanzer 100 of 515, which is close to my max roll. So here we go. Our heavies are totally poking into the Jagdpanzer and E100 as our Lorraine gets killed by the 704. So I'm trying to get shots on this Jagdpanzer, not really going to pen there, so I decide to shoot the E3, but I get a crit on the side of his cupola. So that being said, Jagdtiger takes out the Jagdpanzer E100, and I can spot this 704, hopefully for Artie, but what happens is, I guess when Artie tracks him on that shot, and then you'll see that he totally gets blind shotted by the Artie being the 704. So in a little bit, I crest over, try and spot him again, which I actually do, and he repairs. So I guess he just sits there. I don't have a shot on him because of Chinese gun depression, as Artie actually misses me because I got spotted from that. So that means that they're going to be down around like the K0, or not K0, K7 area. Now M5355 gets spotted, E3's dead, 704's here, he goes unlit like I said, and T92 takes him out with ease. So that's a complete great shot by him, and I said nice shot. So as we go here, I'm speeding up, and they only have 2 artillery left, so this game's over. Basically, pretty good game, great utility with this tank, being that you could just take one side with support, totally rickroll it, and eventually come to their base and just play peekaboo and kill them. So I get a weird shot on that 261 and actually track him, but he repairs, and then, you know, not really much I can do from there. So Jagdtiger takes him out before I can reload or ram him, and that's a pretty good game. I'll have the after battle report as pictures, because I actually managed to get screenshots of this one. So that's basically it, and now we're going into the last 113 gameplay, which is a pretty cool game that I actually had a couple days ago, and I will showcase that for you guys and then close out with some extra thoughts. So stay tuned for the next 113 gameplay.
Alright guys, so here's the second 113 game, which is by XVM a absolute terrible matchup. Now, I don't want to say it's, yeah, fuck it, I'll just say it. They have totally a better team than us. Opposed to their tier 8s and their tier 9 already aren't that good, but just overall our team is not that great at all. Speaking that, I'm the best player on it, and I'm not even a good player by any means. So at the start of this game, I basically just camp around, playing around this tank, just waiting for stuff to go on, as I don't want to be a frontline heavy, and I also don't want to sick bat too long. So I kind of just stay here, wait for things to go and happen. Actually, I'm typing, I guess. So here we go. Scouts YOLOing in middle. We have a T-30. Enemy T-30. Yep, there he is. And I just decided to stick here for a little bit, get shots if the M103s that were platooned up get spotted on the 0 line / 9 line. However, our 57 Heavy is not pushing up, which is actually the right thing to do at this point because he doesn't know if they've already looking over there or TDs. However, the T-30 on their team is just stupid, goes up, and I bounce his mantlet on the side, which was not a very well placed shot, but I was kind of trying to rush the shot to try and secure a kill, but our ISU takes it anyway. So this 57 Heavy comes up, I get a great roll on him with 508, as I don't believe I got spotted there. So I go ahead, try and move up, however, I think that M103, yeah, M103 lit me, so I take, there you go, friggin' fuel tank, just terrible. So this 57 Heavy is shooting heat towards the side of my tank, and he just gets so many no damage pens. So if we look here, right where he shot that heat round in the front, that's where the fuel tank is. Other side of that is the driver and the ammo rack. So, like I said, modules on Chinese tanks, not fun. So that 132 is still sitting there, and I have no clue why he's not dead yet. So this is the part where I speed up the video because this is just peek and shoot action and having a scout sit right there. Now I get a, I guess, yeah, low roll. And the KV-4 comes up. I believe he does not, yeah, he doesn't peek in time. So T-71 sits there and he's just auto-lighting us all for RD and the 268 that's eventually going to be spotted right exactly where he was unspotted according to the mini-map. So this T-71 is really pissing me off. I try to, you know, I'm definitely not going to peek around because the M103s are there. So what I do is I back up, reverse a little bit, see if I could shoot him. But nope, M103 gets spotted. He takes a shot and misses. So I go ahead and try and kill the T-71. But at the same time, 5100 wastes an auto-loading shot on him. But whatever, he killed the scout that was lighting us, and good job for him. So as you can see, our IS-3 is totally boned, as, yep, there you go, he's dead. So these M103s are a very good platoon of ICE players, and I give credit to them. They did really well for their team, and it's not their fault that they ended up losing this, because they were the best players on their team by far. So I try and take a shot at this M103, but I am just getting mangled by him and the invisible 268. So our 57 Heavy engages him, gets hit by the 268. And something else, I guess the M103. So the 268, for some odd reason, his silhouette was not showing, and I tried to take a shot, but just completely missed because mechanics are retarded. So 57 Heavy is on reload, and he is going to die to the M103. Now they had another M103 here, and I guess he's just sitting back. I'm not sure what he's doing. So I get a very, very low roll on that M103 as he tries to push me, but then comes back, and he's got too low a health to really do anything at this point. And as you can see, our Waffle Panzer is getting pooped on by a 132 encircled, and the ISU is not doing anything about it. So this team, for the most part, is just a big sack of fail. So, you know, Waffle Tractor gets owned. We got all these different people. So I'm just going to go ahead and zoom it up, or speed it up a little bit, as, look at that, just 5100, tries to go over the edge, and he's just, whatever. So I'm obviously left alone with the KV-4 here. As the KV-4 takes a blind shot, another IS-3 died, we're just dropping like flies. Now, how we win this game is pretty unique, as it's kind of like last game, because we do get a little bit of help from artillery and scouts and me, eventually getting to the point where one of our scouts, as you'll see before, gets Invader. So right here, what really is weird about this is I'm auto-lighting this M103, and the other guys go unlit. So I'm like, what the hell is happening? So their M103 obviously pulled back, as I'm telling the KV-4 to possibly move up, or, you know, the ISU to get shots over here, but whatever. They're not listening, because pub logic. So, speed up time. So I actually kind of raged a little bit and spurged out, saying good game, fail teams, but I obviously get proved wrong by many players on our team. So the 113 on their team is just tearing crap up, killing the people in our base. So this M103 sticks here, and our 1375 goes to get their artillery, which is a great move by him. Because if he doesn't kill that artillery, then he can't cap, and we can't win the game. So he does a great job getting that. And there's some weird camo for you, as the T-57 Heavy goes out, and I kill him. As the M103 comes out, shoots a heat shot at the side of my tank, and he's crying about it being lucky, but, you know, people don't realize that this thing has spaced armor. So I end up not pushing that at all, as the KV-4 is just YOLOing, and I told him not to do it, but he gets killed anyway. As I'm pretty sure he gets killed by the 268. If not, it takes a little bit of time. But I end up going back to base, and look at this thing's relocation skills, as it's just awesome. So this ISU, pound him right in the front of the tank, get a little bit average roll. He takes a big derp shot, no clue what he was trying to accomplish by that. And I shoot him again in front of the superstructure, as our KV-4 is circle jerking with the M103 and the 268, which I don't get why they haven't killed him yet. So anyway, I try and find the VK and the 113 wherever they may be. VK comes up. My gun depression actually allowed me to shoot him, which is quite weird actually, because I don't know, whatever. So, as you see, our 1375 has been capping this whole time, and Jesus, he gets Invader. So this is a great job. I mean, in theory, the KV-4 held a roadblock there, so that they couldn't get through, cap our base, kill me, or they couldn't get back, because the KV-4 would just shoot him in the butt. So, great job by the 1375, even though his stats don't show it. He did a great job this round by killing the artillery, and having me support our base, and, you know, he got Invader. So, good job to him. Good job by our artillery, and, you know, I'll show after battle reports after this, and just have some closing thoughts. So I really hope I have been doing a good job in this video so far, you know, kind of expanding the small differences that are between this tier 10 heavy tank and the tier 10 heavy tank, medium tank of the Chinese branch. So yep, just stay tuned guys, and this video will be over shortly.
Alright, so we have the after battle reports for this last 113 game before I get into the closing details. Now we have a game obviously where it was on Tundra. I did, let's see, damage dealt 2,451, which is okay, but more the utility of this tank made it great for that game. Nominal base XP 1,032. As you can see down here, we had a very, like, I guess lopsided type of damage spread where the top like 5 tanks did most of the work, and then you got people down here that didn't do anything. 1375 obviously got Invader, which is very good. I got a few defense points, 20 of them, which that'll help them win 7, whatever. And on their team, I feel bad for the Object, because he did great that game, you know. 5.3k damage. They only had one person that did 0 damage, which was actually a tier 9. So their damage spread was way better than ours. We just had more clutch performance, I guess, of 1375 getting Invader, which I still can't get over. That's just ridiculous. Alright, so these are the last after battle reports. You guys can take a look at my noob meter if you really want to, and we'll go more in depth. Now I'll just go over the after, you know, thoughts and closing stuff for this video, so stay tuned.
Alright guys, so to close off this video comparison, I really just want to emphasize the thing about the 121 and also the 113 as how it's kind of like a flip-flop. I mean, the 121 is a medium tank with a heavy 122 caliber rifle, and it has a great alpha, you know, has pretty good penetration for a medium. You know, it fires the AP rounds, which is a little bit on the downside, but it does get that heat. High explosive anti-tank upgrade of 340 pen. Now at the same time, the 113 is a heavy tank with more of a medium style, you know, chassis and turret, you know, whatever. But for the most part, 113 and 121, they're basically interchangeable. I mean, 121 in my opinion is a bit better just because it can relocate faster with that top speed, not necessarily pick up and go, but the fact that it just has that maneuverability, traverse speed, you know, V range, all that good stuff, as it's just a medium style type of tank. Now it is comparable type to like the T-54, how it just wolf packs and platoons and stuff like that. Now how I view the 113 is basically as a utility, like second line heavy tank, or I guess support heavy tank as you can say, that can play the medium playstyle and also be the alpha hard hitting, you know, DPM tank that other mediums can have play with them. So if you have a medium swarm, you might want to include a 113 in it, you know, and just get a couple more alpha damage, have a little bit more HP pool and armor for you, just to help bully tanks. So for the most part, that's the end of this video comparison, and I hope I really did a great job on this. You guys have been liking my channel, you know, comment, rate, and subscribe, keep it up. Also, congratulations to those who won the giveaway. Haven't really stated that yet. So anyway, that's it from me, and yeah, happy tanking, guys.